Welcome back, everyone. We hope you enjoyed your short break. We now turn to what I like to call bonus content. We have two speakers for the next couple of hours. First, we want to welcome back Dr. SherRhonda Gibbs, who will present us with some exercises on creativity as it relates to entrepreneurship. Dr. Gibbs, you have the floor.
Welcome back, everyone. Happy to be with you here again. And I want to talk a little bit about idea generation using convergent and divergent thinking and how you can learn how to hone your own personal creativity and innovation skills. Next slide. First, there are 6 different ways that entrepreneurs can create value when they're developing new products and services. And it's important to know whether or not you are actually creating value or just another Me Too business. Value is something that adds benefit that consumers gain from. You have to make sure that whatever business venture it is that you're pursuing adds value to someone's lives. So the first way is by inventing a completely new product or service. And I have an example in the bottom left corner of the Nest thermometer. For those of you who are familiar with Nest, it allows you to remotely control the temperature in your home or in certain rooms, whether you're in the house or away somewhere visiting family or on vacation. This became very popular when Nest was introduced, and now there are a lot of copycat technologies that are similar to Nest. Second way that entrepreneurs create value is by developing new technology or new knowledge. In the middle picture at the bottom of the page, you see a photo of a gentleman with the product that's called Google Glass. Some of you may be familiar with it or have heard of it before. Google Glass didn't end up doing well in the marketplace for a variety of reasons, but it was a brand new technology that allowed you to have a small screen inside the spectacles of the lenses and be able to view or peruse the internet. So that was a very interesting new technology. They provided prototypes to many engineers who tested it out, but ultimately it failed in the marketplace. The third way that entrepreneurs create value is by servicing underserved markets or customers who are being ignored currently by existing businesses. Back in the 1980s, I don't know if all of you are old enough to remember, but back in the 1980s, women began to enter the workforce in huge numbers. And at that time, they would come home very tired and exhausted from a long workday and not feel at all like cooking dinner for their children if they had children. Consequently, Boston market recognized a gap in the marketplace by saying, well, we have a lot of fine dining restaurants that are somewhat expensive. You have to sit down, you provide your waiter or waitress tip, or you had fast food options which weren't as healthy. Boston market filled the gap by providing a fast casual type of restaurant where you can take your family after a long day's work. You can get relatively healthy food. They served rotisserie chicken, vegetables, mashed potatoes and gravy, a variety of offerings that you didn't feel as bad feeding to your children because they weren't McDonald's or Burger King. So servicing underserved markets or customers. Another way to create value is simply to solve a problem that has not been addressed in society or in your community, or a problem that you may have yourself. Next slide, please. Fourth way that entrepreneurs can create value is by improving upon an existing product or service or creating a new twist. So I have the very popular ice cream called Dipping Dots. Some of you may be familiar with the Dipping Dots, but it was a twist on an existing ice cream product. It made it fun, kids liked it, They got to eat what looked like candy. It melted in their mouth like ice cream. So that's a new twist. And the sixth way that entrepreneurs create value is by finding a way to provide a product or service using fewer or less resources. Before we had these gyms that charge $10 a month, which we have a very large amount of them doing that now. Anytime Fitness was a first mover in this marketplace. Essentially, they did market research. They realized that a lot of consumers go to fitness centers and utilize only a small amount of the services that are available, yet they were being charged for the saunas or the steam rooms or massage chairs, whatever it was. Whereas some customers literally only wanted to utilize the weights or the equipment. They didn't participate in the aerobics classes, and then they would go home. So they created a center to address the need of the bare minimum customer and gave this to them for a price of only $10 a month. It was very attractive. They were extremely successful. Now you see a lot of copycat businesses out there doing the same thing. So I want to reiterate before we go to the next slide, ways to create value as an entrepreneur. You can create a new product or service. You can create new technology or new knowledge. You can create a product or service using less resources. You can improve upon an existing product or service or create a new twist. And could you go back one slide, Ryan? You can serve a group of customers who are currently being ignored or underserved, or you can solve a problem. Those are the 6 ways. So next, on the following slide, I want to give you a creative brainstorming idea activity. And essentially, these are 2 very distinct pictures, and there's no caption underneath because I want you to write the caption. I want you to start your creative juices to flowing and tell me, what do you think the caption should be? What is being sold here? It could be anything. It could be a product. It could be a service, but it needs to be something that consumers are willing to buy. And I want you to write a sales pitch for the picture either on the left or the picture on the right. And I want to take about 5 minutes or so for each of you to do that, and then write in the chat what your sales pitch will be for the caption that should go along with the picture, either in the upper left corner or the bottom right corner. And it'll be fun to see what kinds of things you come up with. And either Ed or Carlos can read a few of them as they come through the chat. I want you to read the more interesting ones as they arise.
Hey, Dr. Gibbs, just a quick question. What is that picture on the top left? Is that a shower?
It could be. That's the point. I want them to tell me what they think it is. You can go ahead and tell us. And if students, if you didn't put it in yet, you can continue writing your captions as we discuss those who are there already.
Okay, I'm just going to be picking out from top to bottom. For the person who wants to share everything, here's the next stage in authentic pod living. Herbert Sherman writes, let us take the C out of the seesaw, by natural. Shawana says, step in and let your mind inspire you. Tony writes, I choose the bottom right-hand corner of kids on the log. Success for you, thrust you into higher perspective to have you experience the truest vision of success for you. Loho, and forgive me if I'm pronouncing some names wrong, Loho writes, your telephone near you. Travis says, work hard, play harder, for the bottom right image. Liana says, teleport to work in seconds. Herb again. Herb says, beam me up, Scotty. Trevi comments, play big for the bottom image. And Ed,
Heather,
go ahead, Ed.
no, I was just at one that Heather wrote for the person who wants to share everything. Here's the next stage in authentic pot living. Olga says, let's preserve our outdoors for the next generation. Herbert Sherman says, when you really need to cool off and clean up, our portable showers are here for you. There was one, Tony says, I choose the bottom right. I think you read that one. Success for you thrusts you into higher perspectives to have you experience the truest vision of success for you.
Okay, is that the last?
Liana says, house, ever wanted a bigger apartment? Just step into the virtual house and you've got it. Love it.
I'm gonna for the last one, if you need to move on for the last one, I just want to highlight Tara's comment. Feeling out of bounds, try our organic products and get grounded. For the bottom image one.
Thank you so much, Carlos, and Ed. Those are amazing students. You're very creative in your captioning, and I really appreciate you're being willing to share that with us. So the next part of the presentation relates to whether or not you can remember what we just talked about. Oftentimes I have students who, from one semester to the next, they cannot remember what they learned. So a couple of minutes ago, I talked to you about 6 value creation techniques that entrepreneurs do. And I want to know if you can remember which of those value creation techniques are being used in the videos. We're going to show one called La Cocina and another video about Farrah Gray. So Ryan or Carlos, if you can pull up La Cocina, we'll show them the video and then we'll pause and ask students to write in which technique they think it was.
La Cocina is a nonprofit incubator kitchen, so we provide affordable commercial kitchen space and hands-on technical assistance to low-income and immigrant female entrepreneurs who are launching, growing, and formalizing food businesses. It's not a lemonade stand, it's a lemonade company. It's not a bake sale, it's a bakery. It's not a tamale stand, it's a tamale company.
Mi sueño de tener un restaurante, que nunca pensé tener un restaurante en América, es gracias a La Cocina.
They give you information, they give you resources, they guide you, they open the door.
We begin with a pre-incubation program where we work on marketing, then we go on products, operations, and finances. Every step of the way, taking what's intuitive to any entrepreneur and turning it into something that you can write down and pitch to an investor. Levi's has had a tremendous impact on this program since day one. They believed in the power of women to start businesses. They believed in the power of this neighborhood to cultivate those businesses. They had faith in it.
Our next guest achieved financial success at an unbelievably young age, making his first million, that's right, his first million by the age of 14. Farrah Gray created and sold his own food company based on maple syrup. Farrah Gray, now 20 years old, is a business mogul, motivational speaker, and just wrote a book on how to become a realionaire. Please welcome Farrah Gray.
Thank you for having me.
Great for having you, sir. Now, I have to read this because people are not going to believe it. I'm going to embarrass you for a minute. Just very quickly, age 6, you sold body lotion door to door for $1.50. Age 7, you carried a business card that read 21st Century CEO. Age 8, formed the Urban Neighborhood Economic Enterprise Club. Age 9, co-hosted a radio show Backstage Live in Las Vegas, reached 12 million listeners. Age 12, lucrative career doing speaking engagements, earning him $5,000 to $10,000 appearance. Age 13, started Far Out Foods, which you sold at age 14 for $1 million. Age 16, acquired Inner City Magazine from Inner City Broadcasting. Age 17, financed a comedy show on Las Vegas Strip. 19, became a contributing author. 20, elected as the youngest member to sit in the board of directors, National Association of Real Estate Brokers.
Okay, so for the first one, students write down in the chat, what value creation technique do you think was used by La Cocina? And for the second one, Vera Gray, this it's probably my fault because I cut the video at a certain point, but essentially he made his first $1 million selling vanilla strawberry maple syrup. That was his grandmother's recipe. So that'll hopefully help give you a bit of a hint. If you need the techniques again, we can scroll back to those slides. It's easy to forget some of these things at times. One is a twist. The other one is fewer resources, solving a problem, underserved markets, customers, new product services. Which one do you think was done by La Cocina? And which technique do you think was used by Vera Gray? Okay, so Dr. Knox, Carlos, can you share some of the answers the students had?
For Sandy La Cocina, okay, just move, could be solve a problem. My mind just shifted. Serving in underserved markets. Herb says the second one was improving services. La Cocina could also be solving a problem. Tony Burgers believed that La Cocina was a different way to providing new services with a new technique. So I guess that would be new technology. SherRhonda McPaul said inventing and solving problems. I'm not sure for which of the two. SherRhonda McPaul says Gray inventing and solving a problem. And I'm gonna really mess this one up. Loho says that the first one was serving an underserved population. Carlos, in case I've missed any.
I think you got them all.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I agree with pretty much most of those. There could be a main way and then a secondary way that they're creating value. Certainly, La Cocina is servicing underserved markets and customers that had previously not had access to these types of services. It could also be argued that they're doing it with fewer resources. As a nonprofit, they were able to get Levi's to sponsor the commercial kitchen to allow these opportunities for immigrant and women entrepreneurs. On the other side, Vera Gray created a twist on a new product. So the second slide that shows the dipping dots is where we already had maple syrup products, but at that time, which was about maybe 30 years ago, strawberry vanilla syrup was not as common, and perhaps that was a twist on existing products or services. And he may have created a new product at the time that it was introduced into the marketplace. So that's excellent. This shows you ways that you can use and write down, ways to create value for your customers. And hopefully you'll take these to memory. And when you come up with a new idea, you can then look at these 6 areas and say, this is how I'm creating value, or I'm doing this in 1 or 2 ways. Okay.
Dr. Gibbs, a quick question for you, particularly because I was reading with someone solved and they use new technology. A lot of times when I'm dealing with students, they always think technology quickly means computer technology and not just a new process that doesn't have anything to do with computers. So I kind of like when she suggests, or the student suggests that that whole approach to that underserved community was somewhat what new. I'm wondering if that's a good way of looking at it.
Absolutely. Creating a new process or way of doing things can be entrepreneurial. As we all know, the most famous company in the world that created a new process is McDonald's, with the way that they serve food and how they created the assembly line to create a hamburger and fries at a very quick or rapid pace. So new processes can also be a value creating technique. All right, so the next thing I told you we would talk about creativity and innovation. So I want to talk about how you can transform an idea to be more innovative. And that involves two ways of thinking. Convergent thinking is where you look at the similarities and connections between two seemingly diverse types of data, objects, or events. And when you transform something, you look both at similarities and differences about the information that you're trying to transform. We're using two types of thinking. Convergent thinking, where you look at the similarities, is called left brain thinking. Left brain thinking, that's our logical and analytical side. In contrast, divergent thinking is right brain thinking. Divergent thinking is the ability to see differences among various types of data and events. When you put both of them together, you are able to transform a basic idea into something extremely unique and amazing. Good entrepreneurs are able to transition between both convergent and divergent thinking at the same time to come up with their new ideas, or right brain and left brain thinking. I'm going to show you an example of how you can use transformation and similarities and differences between objects. Here we have an apple, a pear, and an orange. So when I look at similarities, I see that they are all three fruit. They're all sweet. They're round, they're edible, and they're healthy for you. When I think about differences, and I'm just going over just a few because you're going to be doing this exercise with some other objects. The differences between the three are that they have different shapes, different taste, different colors. The skin on all of the fruit are very different. The nutrients that are provided by the fruit are different. The texture of each of the fruit are different. And then a way to transform is then to brainstorm and say, how can I think of a new product or service idea that would be wanted by customers using divergent and convergent thinking? So I'm going to look at the similarities that I've came up with and the differences that I've devised, and just write down or brainstorm a few ideas. One idea I have is to have an apple flavored antibiotic for children under 5 who need to take antibiotics. They don't want to do it, make it chewable, and then give them that antibiotics because they like apples. They don't like taking pills, however, and it's edible. Herbert gave a great idea as well in the chat. I see his commentary coming up. Another idea is to have a air freshener that can be placed, let's say some type of furniture that smells naturally like orange based upon some type of coating that you put on that piece of furniture with the stain or whatever it is that you use. So there's a lot of ways that you can come up with ideas. And these were just on the spot, by the way. I did not have these pre-planned. I'm just showing you how it is to do live brainstorming based upon similarities and differences. We also call this term synectics. It was a process invented by Thomas Edison, who used to look at differences amongst things that he was trying to create in order to come up with new ideas. And believe it or not, it says that he failed 1,000 times before he came up with the right solution to, I believe it was the light bulb. So having said that, I want to now transition to the next slide, where you all will be working with these two objects. Should I pull it up? Okay, there it is. Thank you. So on one side, the upper left, you have a sleeping dog laying on a book with glasses. And on the other side, you have what looks like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with one bite out of that peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And the instructions, do you have the instruction slide, Ryan, or should I pull that up?
Unfortunately, I don't think I have the instruction slide here.
Yeah, I think I just sent it to Carlos, but I can, if you allow for me to share, I'll pull it up. So I want you to review the two pictures shown on the previous slide, which is the dog and the sandwich. And on one side of your page, write down the column heading similarities. On the other side of the page, write down the column heading differences. And with your group, I want you to write down a list of all the similarities between the two pictures. Take about 5 to 7 minutes to do that. And then use your 5 senses as a guide to determine what the similarities are. Next, write down under the differences column all the differences you can think of amongst the two pictures, and take 5 to 7 minutes to complete that exercise. Once you've written both the similarities and differences, then I want you to take about 7 to 10 minutes to brainstorm a new product or service idea, or multiple products or services, and share that with the group when we debrief or report back. It's okay to do multiple ideas. You'll be called back into the main chat room after your time expires. And it's fine if some of the ideas evolve from one or more of the similarities. And then we'll do a bit of debriefing after we finish that. I won't read all of them, I'll just read some. Group 1 says that both are organic. In certain cultures, both are edible, not the book. Both put me to sleep, both might cause allergies. And
I think we got
they
into
had
differences here.
Yeah, differences, resting on something. Dogs smell and peanut butter has a strong smell too. Dogs don't read and people always finish PB&J. Black rims, glasses, both contain nutrients. Okay, so the differences for group 1, hair, texture, sentient, and inanimate objects. Active, dog is alive. Okay. Thickness of the book versus the bread. New product ideas. Up water, it will help you finish your PB&J and help your dog finish reading their book. Dog treats that are an afternoon pick-me-upper, pet sedative that is yummy and edible. An intelligence booster, PB&J that allows dogs to read. Let's see, a doggy pillow that smells like fresh bread. Education and nutrition for dogs or pets. Happy, healthy, knowledgeable, sustainable snacking. Scratch and sniff e-reader, and new type of dog food server. All right, very good, group 1. Thank you so much for sharing that. Let's go to group 2.
Okay, can you see group 2 now as I'm scrolling around, or
Yes.
do it? Okay.
Yeah, so the similarities, they talked about color, they're similar shapes, and brown on the inside, white on the outside. Differences, literal food for the brain, and the sandwich is food for the body. Glasses for the eyes and glass for the plate. New product ideas. Super glasses that show you the world in brown and white. Dog food that's geared towards dogs, but tastes like human. Enjoying the pleasures of a vacation getaway, brain food for the dog. Comfort wear at home, such as cozying up with your dog. Sorry about that. While reading a book and eating a sandwich. All right, thank you, group 2. And group 3. Similarities were that they were soft, lovable, sweet, soothing, desirable, labor intensive and comfortable. Differences, edible, nutritional, alive, studious, educational, survival, full, I don't know what that word is, long-term, relationship, caloric, knowledgeable, and significance. And the differences is selling discounted eyeglasses or reading glasses. Are these differences or are these ideas? Two-sided robe, wore on both sides at different times in the shower. Is it one side white, the other side brown? I'm not sure. And is there anything below the debrief?
Nope, it looks like that's it.
Okay, so those were the ideas. All right, very good. So what I'm hoping is that you all can share some of the things that you learned from today's exercises, including writing the captions for a sales pitch from the first 2 pictures, as well as brainstorming new ideas by looking at similarities and differences in 2 seemingly diverse or disparate objects. These skills and techniques are what entrepreneurs use on a daily basis in order to create new businesses or new products and services in their existing businesses. There's a saying that I have, and it's innovate or die. 40% of all new revenue for businesses are generated by new products and services. So if we don't, as entrepreneurs, continue to innovate, our business will die and not be sustainable. So I want to wrap up with that and turn it back over to Dr. Knox and Carlos to wrap up our session. Thank you so much for your time.
I'm going to push it over to Carlos. Dr. Gibbs, thank you, and thank all the attendees. Interesting piece.